The battles in the area of Petsamo were military actions in Petsamo during the Soviet-Finnish War of 1939 to 1940. Before the war began, the Soviet 14th Army, commanded by Major General V.F. Frolov, was concentrated in the Murmansk area. It included the headquarters, the 104th Mountain Rifle Division, the 14th and 52nd Rifle Divisions, which were assigned the 290th and 158th Artillery Regiments, and the 208th and 241st Howitzer Regiments, a total of 216 guns and howitzers. The rifle divisions had two separate tank battalions, a total of 38 light tanks. The army was reinforced by the 33rd Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division and the 104th Gun Artillery Regiment. The main part of the forces and resources of the 14th Army was intended to repel a possible Anglo-French landing, and therefore only some of its formations participated in the combat operations against Finland. On the Finnish side, 2 companies of the Border Guard Corps, local Schutzkorps detachments, and 1 artillery battery opposed the Soviet troops. A significant advantage of the Finnish forces was that these units were composed of local Sami or Finns and Swedes who had lived in the Arctic for a long time, resulting in their excellent knowledge of the terrain and living conditions. The Soviet command made a serious mistake in evaluating the Finnish forces opposing it. According to the report of the acting head of the NKVD border troops, Brigade Commander Apollonov, dated November 13, 1939. By the evening of November 30, 1939, formations of the 14th Army had captured the western part of the Rybaki and Sredny peninsulas and began advancing towards Petsamo and Lännehamari. The 104th Mountain Rifle Division was tasked with seizing the Luostari area, in cooperation with the 95th Rifle Regiment of the 14th Division and the 58th Rifle Regiment of the 52nd Division, which were advancing from the Rybaki Peninsula. After that, the units of the 14th Army were to advance south to assist the offensive of the 9th Army and attempt to encircle the enemy. The 104th Division, along with the border guards, was moving west without encountering resistance. The main forces of the Finns in the Petsamo area, consisting of a reinforced battalion, held 2 Soviet regiments at the isthmus separating the Middle Peninsula from the mainland until December 2. By the evening of December 2, the 58th and 95th Rifle Regiments had occupied Petsamo, and the 52nd Rifle Division began to be redeployed from Murmansk. On December 3, Soviet troops took Luostari. In order to avoid encirclement, the Finns retreated. The 95th Rifle Regiment returned to the Rybaki Peninsula, while the 58th Rifle Regiment, whose artillery and mounted machine guns were still on their way to Petsamo, took up defensive positions. In this situation, the command of the 104th Mountain Rifle Division issued an order to prepare a raid on the enemy positions on the night of December 5. During the raid, the 273rd Regiment managed to capture 5 vehicles and 3 guns, but the Finnish sentinel was able to signal the alarm before his death. In the night battle, the commander lost control of the company, which retreated during the enemy counterattack while firing in disarray. The Finns regained their guns and captured 4 mounted and 4 light machine guns. The losses in the company amounted to almost half of its authorized strength. The company commander was court-martialed and executed after the battle. On December 12, after the approach of all formations of the 52nd Rifle Division, the offensive resumed. The Finns began to withdraw along the highway to Rovaniemi, mining it and setting up blockades. On December 15, they abandoned the village of Selmajärvi without a fight. In the evening of December 16, units of the 58th Rifle Regiment encountered stubborn resistance from the enemy, who was defending at the 95th kilometer of the highway. The Finns fought until the evening of December 17 and then retreated upon seeing that an entire regiment was being deployed against them, supported by a company of tanks and divisional artillery. The next day, the regiment occupied the village of Kajärvi. On December 19, the command of the 104th Division received an order from the headquarters of the 14th Army to switch to defense. By that time, the former lead 58th Infantry Regiment was located at the 110th kilometer of the road, having advanced slightly southwest of Tikijärvi. After that, calm settled in the far north. On February 26 and 27, 1940, the 52nd Rifle Division engaged in combat to extract a reconnaissance detachment of the 14th Army from encirclement. The 205th Rifle Regiment attacked the enemy at the 106th kilometer of the Petsamo-Rovaniemi highway, forcing about a company of Finns to retreat into Norwegian territory. On March 7, the 205th Regiment, supported by the 411th Tank Battalion, captured the village of Nazi at the 150th kilometer of the Rovaniemi Highway. Thus, among all Soviet formations during the war, the 52nd Rifle Division penetrated deepest into Finnish territory.